This tutorial is going to help you graphing linear equations. So if I am given an equation, such as y equals 3x plus 2, I need to know how to graph this equation. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to graph the y-intercept. So the y-intercept, if you recall, is in place of the b. So this graph, or this equation, excuse me, is in the form of y equals mx plus b. B stands for y-intercept, and the y-intercept is a positive 2. So that's the first thing I need to do. I can't figure out the slope first because there are no points on this graph. So I can't find a slope. I have to start with the y-intercept so I have a point on the graph. So I'm going to come up, y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis, and I'm going to put a point at 2. Okay, so now I can look at the slope. So the slope is where m is, so m is 3, slope is m, so slope is 3. Okay, and normally, even if you love math, you don't want to deal with fractions, but in this case, we actually want a fraction. So we need to make 3 into a fraction, so we're going to put it over 1. So our slope is 3 over 1, which is the rise over the run. So if the rise is a positive 3, that means I need to go up. And if the run is a positive 1, that means I need to go right. Okay, so in this example, I'm going to start at my y-intercept, and I am going to go up 3, over 1 to the right, and there's my next coordinate. And I believe I can do it again. I'm going to go up 3, 1 to the right. But that only gives us the top half of the graph. This is the midpoint of the graph, the middle of the graph. So I need to get the bottom. So the way I get the bottom is by switching the signs of my slope. So if it was 3 over 1, 3 is going to become negative 3, and 1 is going to become negative 1. And a negative over negative is a positive. So these are actually the same thing, just written in different ways. So now the rise is a negative 3. That means I'm going to go down 3. And the run is a negative 1, which means I'm going to go left 3. If you don't want to deal with the signs and you don't want to have the chance of accidentally messing it up, you can do the opposite of what you did for the first half. If we went up 3, now we can go down 3. If we went right 1, now we can go left 1. And we can do it again. Down 3, left 1, down 3, left 1. Okay, and then I want you to have a straight line. So use a ruler and connect your coordinates. I'm putting arrows on both ends because the line keeps going in both directions. Okay. Let's look at the next example. It says graph y equals negative 2x minus 3. So I have to start with the y-intercept, which is a negative 3. So I'm going to put a coordinate there. And now my slope is negative 2. I need to make that into a fraction, so I'm going to put it over 1. So my rise and my run. My rise is a negative 2. That means I need to go down 2. My run is a positive 1. So that means I need to go right 1. So from my y-intercept, I'm going to go down 2, right 1. Down 2, right 1. But that only gives me the bottom half of the graph. I still need to get this top half. So now I need to do the opposite. Negative 2 is going to become 2. 1 is going to become negative 1. These are the same thing. They're just written different ways. They're the same thing. Or what I actually think is easier is if we were going down 2, now we're going to go up 2. We're going to do the opposite. And if we were going right 1, now we're going left 1. Up 2, left 1, up 2, left 1, up 2, left 1. So on and so on and so on. Draw a straight line using a ruler, and I have arrows on the end because it goes on in each direction. Okay, let's look at this one. So it says graph y equals 1/3 x plus 2. So my y-intercept is a positive 2. So I'm going to draw a coordinate there. I have to start with the y-intercept. I can't start with the slope because where do you start it? And my slope, my rise over my run, is 1/3. Those are both positive. That means my rise is going up and my run is going right. So I'm going to go up 1, right 3. Up 1, right 3. Now I need to do the opposite. Down 1, left 3. Down 1, left 3. And connect the dots. Okay, let's look at another one. So number 5, it says graph y equals -2/5 x minus 4. So -4 is my y-intercept. And now I need to count the slope. -2/5. This whole fraction is negative. But for graphing purposes, you need to put the negative with either the 2 or the 5, the numerator or the denominator, the rise or the run. Okay, so I put it with the 2. If my rise is -2, that means I'm going down. My run, it's positive, so I'm going right. So I'm going to go down 2, right 5. Then I can go up 2, left 5. Okay. All right, number 6. Well, this one looks a little weird. It says graph y equals 3x, but I don't see a y-intercept. But we know when there's not a y-intercept, there really is. It's just 0. So graph my y-intercept. And then my slope is 3, which is the same as 3/1. My rise is positive, so I'm going up. My run is positive, so I'm going right. So from this coordinate, from the y-intercept, I'm going up 3, right 1. Up 3, right 1. But that only gives me the top half. Now I need to do the bottom half. So I'm going to go down 3, left 1. Down 3, left 1. And then use a ruler to draw a straight line. And we are not going to actually graph these for time purposes, but when it says graph x equals -4, that will create a vertical line where x is 4. So there'll be a vertical line here. Okay, and then y equals -2. This is not y equals -2x, it's just y equals -2. So go to where y is -2, and it creates a horizontal line. Okay, those are a review from another video, so I didn't want to spend too much time on them. The last thing I want to do is let's look at this. On number 2, I know by just looking at the equation that this is a positive graph. The slope is positive because it's a +3 there. So my graph better be going up in the positive direction, and it is. So you can check each one. Number 3 is a negative slope, so my graph should be going down, and it is. Number 4, positive, it's going up, good. Number 5, negative, it's going down, good. Number 6, positive, and it's going up, good. So that's a really quick way to make sure you at least got your graph going in the correct direction.